back to our channel, The Classroom. Today we are back with a new chapter of physics of class 9, that is Newton's laws of motion. Newton's laws of motion I have already discussed in the fourth chapter of class 10, but for class 9 this is a descriptive study of the three laws of motions of Newton. So beginning with the three laws, let's come to the first law, that is Newton's first law of motion, which states that a body continues to be in the state of rest or in the state of motion until and unless an external force is applied on it. Okay, let me describe a bit. That is, suppose a body is in the state of rest, it will continue to be in the state of rest, and if a body is in the state of motion, it will continue to be in the state of motion in the same direction with the same speed until and unless an external force is applied to it. Now, there are two parts divided for this particular law. The first part, which states that a body continues to be in the state of rest, and if a body is in the state of motion, it continues to be in the state of motion. Okay, till this part, this particular part of the first law of motion gives you the definition of inertia. Okay, it gives the definition of inertia. And the second portion, where it states that unless an external force is applied to it, this gives a definition of force. So the first part of the law says about inertia. Now what is inertia? Inertia is an inherent property of an object by which a body continues to be in the state of rest or in the state of motion. Okay, if a body is in the resting condition, it will remain as such, and if a body is in motion, be it in the rectilinear part or the curvilinear part, it will continue to be in that particular motion. Okay, so this particular property is known as inertia. Now inertia depends on mass. If the mass is more, inertia will be more. Okay, so you have seen the mass of, suppose a heavy huge deuce ball and small plastic ball, right? So inertia, suppose when the cricketers play with those heavy balls, with those deuce balls, you have seen that they need lot of energy, or like with difficulty they catch the ball, right? But for a plastic ball, if you are playing, you need very less effort to catch up that ball. Because why? Because of the mass. So inertia depends on mass. If the mass is more, inertia will also be more, right? Next, coming to the second part, that is unless an external force is applied to it. So this particular second part of the law gives the definition of force. What is force now? Force is that physical cause which tends to change the state of rest or the state of motion of a body. If a body is in motion, it will try to stop that motion, or maybe it will try to change its direction, and if it is in rest, it will try to bring it to the body in motion. Okay, it will try to bring that particular body into motion. So these are the difference of the two parts of the law. The first part telling about inertia, second part talking about the force. Right? I hope I'm very clear with this two parts. Now coming back to inertia, we have two types of inertia. One is inertia of rest and the other one is inertia of motion. Now what is inertia of rest? A body continues to be in the that is in the state of rest due to inertia of rest until and unless an external force is applied to it. So suppose, that is, if anything is in the state of rest, something in the table is kept, okay, it will continue to be in that particular position only until and unless you push it and make it move. Okay, suppose a dice, okay, or suppose a bottle is kept on the table, that is in the state of or the inertia of rest until and unless you take the bottle, open the cap and drink water from it. That is a muscular force that you are putting onto it. Okay, so that again is a inertia of rest. Now for example, suppose we are in a train, okay, and you will see when the train starts moving, we tend to fall backward, right? What is the reason behind that? What is the reason that we try to fall backward? The reason is that our lower portion of the body is contact with the train, right? That is a part with the part of the body of the train. So whenever the train starts moving, our lower end of the body is in continuous motion with the train. But our upper portion of the body is not in motion with the train. So what happens is, it remains in the rest position and our lower portion of the body moves forward. As a fault, we tend to fall backwards. Right? So this is a particular reason why we tend to fall backward when a train starts moving. Because our whole body was in rest. Suddenly our lower portion of the body starts moving with the train, and our upper part of the body is still in the inertia of rest. As an issue, what happens is our body tends to fall backwards. Right? Next, coming to the inertia of motion. Now coming to the inertia of motion, we will come to the fact that inertia of motion is for a body which remains in the state of motion due to inertia of motion, remains in the motion in the same direction with the same speed until and unless an external force is applied to it. Right? Now you might have seen people like those athletes who take long jumps. Okay, they start moving or they start running from a long distance and then they take the long jump. Why? Because their body was in rest. They want to bring their body into motion. So as they bring their body into motion, it becomes easier for them to take a long jump. So this is the reason behind that what and why that these athletes run so much and after that they take a huge leap. Okay, so these are the examples of inertia of, that is rest, I have discussed before, and inertia of motion. And one more example that I can provide you is, while sometimes you will see that from a person moving out from a moving bus or moving vehicle, you will see as they put their feet on the ground from the moving vehicle, they start running. Okay? Otherwise, what will happen is they will fall forward. Okay, they will simply fall down. The reason is that the vehicle is already in motion. The person is already in motion with the vehicle. As he is stepping out, his step comes in contact with the ground which is in rest. Now as his feet comes in rest, from a jerk he might fall down because the other part of the body was in motion. Okay, so for that, to avoid that a person falls down, they start running as simply as they touch the ground, so that they do not tend to fall forward. So this is the reason why people from a moving, that is coming out from a moving vehicle, start running immediately after they step on the ground. Okay, so this was an example of inertia of motion. Now next, coming to the force which I was discussing. Now force we have discussed a lot, right? Different types of force. How is force related to mass? So force is basically dependent on two things, mass and velocity. Okay, so whenever we say it is dependent on mass and velocity, we bring it to the definition of linear momentum. Okay, that is the product of mass and velocity. This is, we denote it by P is equal to mass into velocity, right? Now whenever we come to this mass into velocity, we bring to the fact of linear momentum the rate of change of linear momentum. Now what is rate of change of linear momentum? That is, I will just derive it for you. So suppose initial change in momentum is mu. U is the initial velocity. Second, final change in momentum is equal to mv, right? So the rate of, or you can simply write change of momentum, rate of change of momentum that is mv minus mu by t, right? So m, taking it common, v minus u by t. Now v minus u by t, that is change in velocity by time taken, is what? is acceleration. So mass into acceleration we know, and change in momentum, that is dp by dt, we know this is equal to mass into acceleration, which is force. So that means we can say force is equal to mass into acceleration. This gives the formula for force also. Okay, so this brings you to the second law of motion. So coming to the second law of motion, let me discuss the law. That is, the second law states that a body, that is a rate of change of momentum, now from this we get the second law of motion, which states that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied, and the change of momentum takes place in the direction of the force applied. Right? So from here only you can see this particular one, that is dp by dt, that is rate of change of momentum is equal to m into a, which is equal to force. Okay, that means you can also write from here, that is force is proportional to mass into acceleration, which also we can say force is equal to kma, where k is the constant of proportionality. Taking k equal to 1, we get that is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so this is basically we get it from this particular one. If you need this this particular theory which I gave you, you can also follow in the chapter of force where I have done this, okay, of class 9. You can get that. Next. So this was all about Newton's laws of motion, this first law and the second law. Now coming to the third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that every action has equal and opposite reaction. Now while talking about equal and opposite reaction, I can give you so many examples of it. Suppose talking about the balanced forces. Suppose you are exerting a same force on a particular body. Okay, like suppose I am pulling a particular body of force F1. Okay, the other person on the other side, on the opposite side, is also taking a force of F1 and pulling the object. Okay, so both the forces are equal. So in that case, what will happen is, whenever the body, that particular body will not move, and what happens is a particular force is exerted on our body in our muscular effort. Okay, or suppose, let me give an example of something else which will be very easy for you to understand. While we walk, you will see that we put pressure on the, that is on the heels, and then we walk. Okay, as we put our that is heels on the ground and put a force on the ground also gives a force which makes you to move forward. That is, equal amount of force is being exerted by both the object, from the foot and from the ground, and which helps us to do our work. Okay, sometimes there will be another example which you will hear, that someone is firing a gun. Okay, when they are firing a gun, the bullet that goes out of the gun, okay, that is the action that is taking place, and the reaction is, you will see the person who is firing the gun, after that is the gun is shot, there is a recoil, that is his hand is going to come back. That is just because that is a reaction. Okay, as I said, for every action there is a reaction force also. Another small example is, you are trying to push the wall, you are trying to push this board with a force. You can also get a force that is being applied in your hand. You can easily understand that. Push a wall with your hand and see some amount of force or some type of force is also exerted on your hand. So these are nothing but the reaction forces. Right? So this was all about the three laws of motion, that is Newton's first law, second law and the third law. Very important. I said if you need this much, this particular the derivations and all, you can go back to the first chapter of class 10 and see it. Okay, I'll provide you the link so that you can see it. If there is any problem in this particular chapter, since it's very easy but it's very important along with the examples, inertia is very important, force is applied, that is important, the second law of motion, that is a law as well as this particular one, that is a rate of change of momentum. From where we get that rate of change of momentum is equal to mass into acceleration is very important. Okay, so this was all about the chapter. I think it's very easy and interesting also. Now, this is an example. A ball of mass 10 gram is initially moving with a velocity of 50 meter per second. That means the mass given is 10 gram. Okay, that you can convert to kg, and initial velocity is said to be 50 meter per second. On applying a constant force of the ball for 2 seconds, so the time is 2 seconds, it acquires a velocity of 70 meter per second. So that means the final velocity that is acquired is 70 meter per second. That is v, small v. Calculate initial and final momentum, rate of change of momentum, acceleration and the force. Okay. So mass is given 10 grams, so 10 by 1000 converting to kg. Next is u is given 50 meter per second, v is given 70 meter per second, and the time is given 2 seconds. So initial momentum, mass into initial velocity, that is small u. So 0.01 into 50, that gives you 0.5 kg meter per second. Here we have converted it to kg, so kg and meter per second. Okay, so that means momentum's unit is kg, SI unit is kg meter per second. Right? Next, final momentum is mass into final velocity, v. So 0.01 into 70, that gives you 0.7 kg meter per second. Next, rate of change of momentum is mv minus mu by 2 by that is t. That is the value is 2, that is why I said 0.7 minus 0.5 by 2, you are getting 0.2 by 2. Now you can put that decimal point by 10 into 2, cut it, you will get 0.1 kg meter per second square. Next, coming to acceleration. Acceleration is a, we know v minus the change in velocity by time taken, v minus u by t, that is 70 minus 50 by 2, that is 20 by 2, 10 meter per second square. And lastly, force, that is mass into acceleration. That's what, put the values whatever we have got. Mass we already know it's 0.01 into 10, we get 0.1 kg meter per second square, or you can write as Newton. So this was one example of laws of motion, okay, applying the linear momentum. So this was all about the chapter that we had today. So I hope this was very clear. If not, please do comment, and if you have liked this video, please put a like, share it and do subscribe, and please don't forget to press the bell icon because you'll be getting many more notifications. Thank you. Have a good day.